Something wrong with you.
All right, greetings family. We're live on Revolutionary Cam. This is Bomani Technology, and we're here to give you another strong black family production. And today we're here to talk about why is interracial relationship destructive to black nation building.
Well, interracial,
You gotta introduce yourself.
Well, again, okay, my name is Rael. All right, I'm a spiritual teacher. I teach the all seeing eye, or the eye, Ra, eye, horse, and that's just how to see in a sacred language, how to see in a sacred way. But when I look at interracial dating, it's all about, to me, I see it as about growing genetics. And when we look at how when we date outside of our race, that we can only serve an aspect of our very own creation. Meaning that when we meet someone, the only thing that they can do to us is give us another aspect. It allows us to work on an aspect. But when we look at growing anything, that the nutrients has to serve the whole creation. And so when we look at being able to choose our women, the woman has to serve the whole creation of the man, meaning that she has to somehow fit into alignment with his family, his culture. She has to fit into alignment with his aspirations and ambitions, all these different things that allows him to build. Now, when you look at dating outside of your race, there's hurdles that we have to to jump in. I'm not saying that love is not possible. It is very possible. All right, but when you look at serving the whole creation of that being, all right, a man needs to be able to connect with his people, his culture. He needs to be able to connect with his God, his spirit, the same energies that his people are able to connect with. He still has to come into alignment with that, all right? And when you date outside of your race, sometimes the one thing that they do bring into alignment is how you fit outside of your race. Because now you're more so into discussions about who you're dating, what you're creating, and do you know yourself? All right, and so those are more so the questions that people who are dating outside of their race have to address. But when you're within your race, all right, these are no longer questions that you're addressing, because the woman that you're fitting, she can now serve the whole creation of that man. So it's like when we can't just look at our lives and say, hey, my name is Rael and I just serve myself and my household and everything here. Even when you walk to your family and you do things with your family and you go to your job and you go all the different places, that woman serves all those different aspects of that man. All right, and so now if you pick a woman, an Asian woman, a white woman, she may not be able to serve all those aspects of that man, where he can not only take her to his culture, take him to the family, and also feel the interconnectedness as a man. Because I do feel that when you are raised with a black mother and black family, all right, you typically look at certain women and you expect them to conduct themselves as such as some of our parents act, and sometimes we can't get that from the people we're dating that's outside of our race. So I do feel like there's hurdles. I'm not saying that all people can't date. They can't. Now, I'm not saying that.
We're talking about nation building.
We're talking about nation building, and so that means that spouse, that woman, that man has to serve all aspects of that creation if you're trying to sustain the creation or build your race or build anything.
I say you can't serve two masters. You can't have two masters where you live in a double life. And I really feel like a man or woman that's with a white woman or Asian woman of any of Caucasian descent, you are serving two masters, and you are not all the way in the fight, because that man or woman is still going to be in your ear about, what about me? What about us? What about this? And they want you to they want you to be okay with some. I guess they want you. I'm assuming, because I've never been in an interracial relationship. But I'm guessing that they want you to be okay with your blackness, but don't be too black. Mm-hmm. Don't be too prideful about your people, because then that upsets them. So how can you be fully in the fight if you kind of have to be almost on a leash or tamed?
Yeah.
It's not possible. You can't nation build, because there's still a half of you that's got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. It's like you're straddling that gate. You're in the gray area. You're not black and you're not white. So if you're not black or white, you're in that limbo area. So you can't never be sure about what you're doing, and you can't establish nothing on you being wavering back and forth like a leaf in the wind. How is that
What if they
possible?
get what if things flow and they have children together? And
Here I go.
what are the consequences, the destruction? What are the
Well, he
Well,
was
I'm about to
thinking
address.
more.
I'm about to address that now because I think that when I first explained that I have two children. I had my first marriage was with an Asian woman. She's Korean. All right, and so my children are mixed, half Korean, half African. And so the one thing that when we look at DNA is DNA will allow. And right now, since me and my ex-wife no longer are speaking, you know, one of her threats in the relationship that if we were to ever break up and we were to not ever be in a relationship, that she wouldn't allow me to see my children. All right. Now, people, when they don't have the same compatible DNA, right, they can do that to you and have no feeling of connectivity. When there are people who are in your tribe and people who are within your culture, their DNA naturally connects, and those people have a natural knowing that they would not be in the same type of agenda where the father and the son or father and the children are not connected. I think that there's certain cultures that know the importance of their children, and there's certain cultures that struggle with this idea. So I do feel that when we look at you know, when there are children, that's what you risk. You risk that there's a cultural gap. And sometimes that when two people break up, one person goes back to their culture, right? They start to go back to the things that are more comfortable with them. People talk about, you know, living on the wild side, but people always know the comfort of their culture. And so when people go back to the comfort of their culture, you have to go back to the comfort of your culture. That alone creates a huge divide where, you know, of course the child gets to learn from both cultures.
But it builds duality.
But it builds a lot of duality between the child where they're not able to really connect with one side. Of course they gain the abilities, you know, all the positivities of both cultures, but the interconnectedness with one of them, there's not a solid mind frame that one of those children can actually gain from that culture.
Can I give an example? It's been surfacing around Facebook for a minute, but it's about this black man, and he has this picture up of his daughter. He had her with a white woman, and he got her hair cornrowed. And then he takes he takes a picture of it, and then he has what the mother of his child had to say, and she said it was ghetto. Take that ugly shit out of the child's hair. Okay, so this is showing that she's not accepting of his culture, which it is something of African descent to have cornrows, to have the braids, but she's saying that that's ghetto and don't do her baby's hair like that. And he's like in shock. But I'm like, why are you in shock? She's still a white woman at the end of the damn day. And I think that's what these men, a lot of men and women who go over to these races forget. It's almost like they get this little veil over their eyes. Like, oh, they're just, you know, they love black people. But when shit gets real and shit goes down, that's when the family divides, and it's me and you, and you black and I'm white, and I know that happens in the homes. It happens to the best of them. I don't care how much you harmonize in the home. When race issues, when you see something on media, when you're out there, or if that person says anything about your culture, you are going to feel slighted. You're going to feel some type of way. Now, how the hell are you going to deal with any type of nation building when you can't, like I keep saying, it starts at home. If your home is not whole and has that nucleus of harmony, there's always going to be some type of disharmony. And when you get with different races, that foundation is duality. I don't care what you do, what you say, it's always going to be some type of duality in the mix.
And what we have to look at is that what makes most families works is that it's a group that allows them to be connected with each other. And so whenever you make a statement where we do decide to date outside of our race, all right, now we know that we are taking on this relationship by ourselves, and we may not gain the support of our community. Our community may not agree with some of the things that we're doing. So, you know, in the old days, they say it took a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to sustain a relationship, you know, to be able to be that couple who feels that they're connected with their people, who feel like they have a purpose as a unit amongst their people. All right, and I feel like when you are in those relationships all right, you may not be able to gain that same type of community because as a black man, when I used to date, outside of my race, all right, but the one feeling that I'm admit as a black man on camera was that each time I had a woman who wasn't black on my arm, all right, in my subconscious, I knew there was something about what I was doing. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I was my greatest self. I always found myself saying, "Wow, I want one of my kind. I want a girl who looks like me."
But can we go to this? What me and Rael discussed on a regular of why he was with a white woman or why he got with Asian women. It was because that, and this is something that's has been known, and I know y'all black women, you're gonna understand this, but a lot of black women don't want the good guy. You don't want the good guy. You don't want the guy that was, and even myself, because anything I say to anybody, I speak from experience. Back in those times, like in the 90s and stuff, it was all about the thug. Hip hop got us into DMX and these thug type of guys. So you wanted that hardcore. You wanted the what appeared to be the alpha male. So the good guy, nobody really wanted. So you even see these guys like, what's the one who's doing the comic? He's the black guy and he has a white wife, but he's on that
Key and Peele.
Not Key and Peele, but the Superman show that's on Netflix.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. Everybody pissed off that Luke Cage had a white woman, and Rael had to bring that up to me. Is that what if he was one of the good guys that was just wanting to be with a black woman, but we was you ain't thug enough, you ain't this, you not that enough. And we get in that, and it's just the thing is that we got to know the difference between alpha and thug. That ghetto, what you call the niggas. Y'all want the niggas. Y'all don't want the men until it's too late, the good guy. And I think a lot of these good guys are going and dealing with women, with these white women. And it's just time for us to change the way we think of how men should be.
Yeah, and I think the reason why a lot of black men dealt with white and women outside of the race is because most of those people were a little bit, I wouldn't say as submissive, but they were at the point where they wasn't as materialistic in views. And I feel that what we've experienced from the black female is that the materialism reigns supreme in her world, where in order to get her, there's a lot of things that you need to show that you have something.
I think materialism is still there. I just think that white women and a lot of Asian women are very cunning at their motives. Like a black woman is kind of straight out. You gotta have this, you gotta have that. A white woman will work with you. She'll build your ass up where you'll have enough money to take care of her. She'll stay there and she'll get you with the right connects. Oh, you can work with daddy, and daddy will give you a job. And when daddy gives you a job, you just gotta stick with it, and then you'll be in, the 6 figures. You'll be all the way up there. They'll make sure that they
I will
get you
agree
there.
that every woman who I dealt outside of my race did push me in that way, where I didn't have much. I tell you, the first Asian girl I dated, I'm gonna tell you how we dated. I was just going through my surgery, and she was able to help me get my first job at Wells Fargo Financial. She was one of the very first, and so when I look at the next girl, she really helped me with a job. But it was almost that she was there to back me and allow me to kind of get on my feet, even when I wasn't on my feet. And so even when I tried that same experience with dating with a black girl is that if my car wasn't right and my shoes wasn't looking nice and I didn't have shit, I didn't have a shot at it.
Black women want instant man. They not together, but they want instant. They homemade where you gotta cook them up, but they want the instant man, like bing, out of the microwave. He's perfect and he's for me, but your shit ain't in order. Y'all need to get this in your head. I want y'all to understand this. If you want a good man, you got to work with that man. You got to change some ways about yourself, and he has to be able to bend. It's all about bending and energy, but it's not going to work. We are going to keep losing our men to these women because they're a lot more cunning than us, and they will act like they are supportive of that man, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they know how to, I guess they know how to work that man to be in that benefit. So if he doesn't have a job, they looking for that job. But they're not saying, oh, nigga, you need to get a job. I'm sick of you being on my couch. You don't do shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way that you have to talk to your man. And I even had to learn that myself, is that it's all about the presentation and how you lift your man up and how you speak to him. And we need to get back to that, because words are spells. And when you charm somebody, you're saying charming things to them. You're lifting them up. You're speaking good. You're speaking well to them. And even correcting yourself when you are hurting that person. Like, there's times where I can be a bitch, and I had to pull that back and say, you know what, Ra, I'm being a bitch right now, and I'm sorry. Just that apology and apologizing. But we as black women, we have lacked that. We have lost that element, where now we think, oh, well, I'll get with a white man and he'll let me just run all over his ass, and that feels good. No, I want somebody that's just as strong as me. I want that black man to be able to check me when I'm wrong. And Rael does that shit on a regular, but I can do the same with him, and we both feed off of each other in a positive way. I think that there's no way we can do any type of nation building without two strong energies, of that female energy and that male energy, and we need to see that more, because we need to build up that DNA more to be stronger, and we're lacking that.
And then I do just think that we're at a time in an era where, you know, our people, we need healing. And so sometimes it may take us to give up some of them personal aspirations and dreams of wanting to just date and be curious, to seeing that our people need examples that look and appear just like us. They act like us, they live amongst us, and they have families just like how we dream to have families. And so I feel that those are things that, you know, if we just see what the solution is, it's just that we need solid families. We need enlightened communities that we're promoting as such, and we're building it as such that it will bring in all the it'll be an area. It'll be a place that if you were to plant a tree absorbs all the nutrients around it. And so I feel that in order for us to really solve a lot of these problems, we have to build it first.
Exactly, and start building up our children, and start teaching our young black men and young black women what to look for in men, because they're looking at their parents, they're looking at them, and they're seeing how to date. You see a girl, like mothers would be like, well, I don't know why she's so promiscuous and all that, but you have men running in and out of the house, then she's going to see that, or he's going to see that, and they're the one to think that's the way it's supposed to be. So you have to lead by example. So we need to start teaching the young boys and the young girls that this is how you do things. This is how you court. Like with my son right now, he's getting into liking girls and going out. But we still say have fun, but be respectful. And this is what you look for in a girl. And this is what you... And we ask him questions like, what type of girl would you want? And what makes a good girlfriend? What makes a good woman? You have to have this open dialogue with your children. What makes a good man? And not based off of material things, but what do they have up in here? What do they have in their heart first? Not what do they have. Do they got cash? Do they got on the new Jordans? Is her hair always right?
Because I believe that, and I know in the very near future that we're going to be in a paradigm where we are outside of materialism. Mm-hmm. So no matter how much gold or diamonds that you wear, you may be at a point where that may not be able to impress a woman like how it used to impress women. Mm-hmm. So I know that we're going to an area where people will come into knowledge about being able to raise good humans and to be with good humans. It's not going to be about just being with money. So I know that we have to start building the communities where we teach people how to become great farmers of people, and then but we keep, you know, passing this wisdom down so our countries and our people can keep our DNA strong by just naturally being that light.
That was biblically known, and other nations know it. I know that, you know, some East Indian girls where they were already put in arranged marriages, and they were told that they can have fun, but they're not supposed to be with a black man. And you know, they would get in trouble for that. Like, mm-hmm. We need you to keep this race strong. So what is wrong with us telling our children, you need to keep this race strong and keep that lineage going, and also you don't just have to get with African American women. You can once we get over there, start integrating with the Africans and start building that blood and that lineage back up to the richness that it was. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing racist about that. There's some white people that say, hey, they tell their daughters and their sons that I want you, especially Jewish. They always saying, get a good Jewish girl. They do not want their kind being with a black woman or even a Irish person or anybody. They don't want that. They want Jewish to be with Jewish. So when black people do it, there's something wrong with that because you're scared. You're scared of what's going to happen if we start to actually love ourselves, love our people, and come together. And I've had to tell a lot of white women that too. That you always want to pull that race card because what? Because I love my people? Because I'm promoting us to be better? How can you pull that as being racist? I'm not saying that. I'm not even comparing myself to you. Mm-hmm. I'm not even saying that I need to be like you. I would just want my people to do better. You know, and that's what it comes down to, is that for our people to do better, we have to be together. We can't be having our hands in 1,000,001 cookie jars. We need to be at home, fixing our relationships, and getting back to this, just back to the basics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But just like how the days of Egypt, where people used to go into Egypt to gain knowledge so they could take back to their communities. And so I think that we have to have that system in that community first, one that is already doing it and one that has already shown that it can be successfully, managed and implemented, where everyone can come and we can start trying this new process of nation building and bringing families together under some common themes.
I want to say this. And people I may get some flack, but it was like integration weakened our people. When we integrated, we got so much weaker. When we were segregated, we were really, really together. We understood where we stand. Integration brought like an illusion over us. It felt like we were actually really together with the people, and we never really were. They just changed the laws. Not really change the laws. They changed the names, but never changed the laws. Never changed what they felt about us. You can look at different acts, and we're not even considered citizens really here in the U.S. So with all that being said, why the hell are we now underneath this thing that we're so self-sufficient, we're getting everything we want, and we know we're not. We know we're not. There was one thing where it was saying that we get for every dollar is only like 6 cents. We really, as black people, get 6 cents compared to a white man or white woman getting like the dollar amount. So just think about that. Why the hell are we and really thinking that integration really helped us? It really made us be more dependent upon this government and the people that run it.
Now it's something else. You're talking about integration.
Yeah.
Link that with interracial relationship, because you mentioned something about it weakened the movement.
Exactly, and I think that it takes you off focus when a black man is with a white woman, or a black woman is with a white man. It takes you off the focus of what you should be doing.
And that focus is that it blurs the lines where you don't know who woman you're standing up for. You don't know if you're standing up for your woman, because now your woman can be a white woman, can be an Asian
But then
woman.
you forget about mama. And I love how black men forget about their mother.
But you forget about your people, right? Your people, the people with the brown skin who have the same facial features of you. They all. If you go to this one country, you see that everyone looks like you in that country. All right, but I think the people in America have never ever witnessed people who have the same traits, to look like you. So we don't know what women we're protecting. We think all women is all women. So it's like now we have to realize that that there's a specific woman that we need to preserve, and it's that woman who's going to keep birthing seeds that come from our Creator God. Our God that's creating through these women who were chosen from Him to create, and who has the DNA to create the best seeds on earth. And so that's what we have is that when we create together, we have genetics. We have all those things that naturally allow us to be compatible. And the good example would be my brother. He has a son, all right. And this son, and we have talked about in the family, but we think he could be someone else's son. He doesn't look like my brother. Doesn't really have any of his genetics, all right. But the one thing that we noticed was that, when I look at my son or looking at her and her connecting with her children, that when the genetics and the DNA is right, the children is able to receive the message from the parent. When the genetics is not right or if they're not compatible with the father, then the chances are there may be some discord that's happening with the son, because the son is not meant to take in information like that culture of people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that son he's meant to take in information from that culture, which has a whole totally different way on how they take in and treat their people. So I think that we have to look at DNA and our heritage as something greater than what we have, because the bulk of our information comes from that.
It's a force that can drop you off. They even say that biblically when they were talking about how King Solomon had many wives and how his empire, how his kingdom had fell because he integrated with so many different races of women, where they had him spinning, where he was building altars for this one, and building altars for this one, and doing this for this one, where he forgot about the Israelites. He forgot about his women, his wives that were the Israelites, and he was all into his concubines. They were of other nations. So it could throw you off your A game, because you're trying to serve two masters. Like I said at the beginning, you cannot serve two masters. You have to be on one side or the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to decide. And that's when it takes a grown-ass man or a grown-ass woman to say, I am for my people, and this is what I'm going to do, is nation build with only my people until we get it right.
And just to kind of give another example, do you think, since we can look at different races, do you see rich people integrating with poor people?
Do you see? Oh, let's take it further. Do you see? Do you see a lion going to a tiger? Do you see a panther with a tiger?
Back to what you talk about, compatibility.
Exactly.
The last video, compatibility. And what I wanted to interject in is wanted us to talk about the effects of these children that are produced by these relationships over a period of time. How do they function in society? Are they just completely destructive or confused?
I believe they're confused in a lot of ways. A lot of them can end up growing up where the mother leaves the father and they completely grow up as that race. Even though they have a dark skin, they grow up like they're a white person, because their mother takes them away from all of the culture where they don't have that. Or even I did see somebody where he was Asian. He was black and Asian, and now he's just now getting to know the black side of his family, the African side of his family. But he grew up where he was in Japan, and he experienced a lot of racism. He experienced a lot of abuse, and his father wasn't there because he was all the way in the U.S., and he was left there with a mother in Japan, really not knowing who he was. And then he got into modeling. His mother got him into modeling. That's where he kind of found out, that I am beautiful, because he was ugly, he was weird, he was different because he was black, where he didn't even have that influence there. So I really think that it confuses them. And then once you have these children that are confused, then how can they nation build?
Wow, isn't it? You just mentioned something about this man. Wouldn't you can compare a situation same as Tiger Woods, except their path unfolded different, right?
Yeah, and it's like each people. Even when I look at my son, I took my son, and his mother was adopted by white parents, and they had like kind of a white Caucasian side. And so he came around my parents and he said, how come your side of the family is way different from, that side of the family? And I'm like, yeah, because we're cool as hell. That's one of the main reasons why you experience such coolness, is because you're around some folks who got some other things happening underneath that skin. But my son, he was able to experience that part. And so I know right now he's experiencing just a lot of the lower nature responses from his side, of the family. But I know that, that won't serve his whole creation. At some point, he's going to have to know the other side, where he's going to have to come to that black culture to be able to serve the other aspects of his creation. And so that was, one thing I was saying before in the other video is that, actually I think in this video, is that depending on the person you pick, you want to pick someone who can serve your whole creation. They can serve all the aspects. right? But he won't know that until he's able to dip on that other side. But I know that what he will be dealing with is that not only he may have issues with his, father issues because his mother has put it that way, but he also may deal with the depiction of black people, because now his hatred may stem into a hatred to black people, can maybe thinking that all black people are a certain way. So I think that when we look at the domino effect of how one of these relationships, can affect a child, it can affect it either, extremely left-sided, or, for the people who are able to benefit from both sides of that race, it could be really a positive thing.
Oh, let's keep it funky. Some of these white women get these black men because they want the color, they want the look, they want their children to be black. What you see, all these celebrities just buying up African children, and they want that because they know our children, our people are beautiful. So why not mix with us and see what you can bring from that? But they sometimes, majority of the time, do split up and want to raise their children how they want to. Like, just going back to the little girl that got the cornrows, and her daughter, she's like, no, I need to straighten her hair, and I need her hair to look like this. So they still are like, okay, I got this black child, but I want to raise them up how I am, and forget that culture. So you're building up these children that are what you call the Oreo. They black on the outside but white in the inside, where they just don't know of their culture. They have none of that in them. It's almost like they just been implanted with a certain consciousness of the mother or the white father, where they don't have that culture in them of that black side, the African side, that they need to kind of bounce them out, so they know that they know their identity. So we're having a lot of these children lost, basically.
And you're particularly talking about children that are raised by white women.
Yes.
And we look at we look at two examples. We look at Barack Obama and Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
The sense of loyalty didn't just shift over to the black African side.
It doesn't go that way.
It was either in between or more towards the white side. So sometimes it's like that's a dangerous game right there. You're playing
Russian roulette, like you said, because you just don't never know what the child is going to pick up on, or what they want from their parents.
Yeah, you don't know which side of the DNA is going to activate.
And that child could be the person that destroyed the black African movement to where it's destroyed for life.
Exactly.
That's the danger of what we're dealing with.
Right.
Exactly. We don't know which side of that DNA is going to activate, and if they've been raised around, white Caucasian and all this, that's all Asian, and I don't have any issues with any Asian, but I do know that if those DNA doesn't truly activate, he can't truly be his full self.
It's in this group that I'm in, and it's just about black mothers, and we have different stories. But the lady had put in there that she was out, and she seen this white couple, and they had two little black girls. One of the little black girls broke away from the white parents and ran up to her and said, "Mama," and then hugged her and would not let go of her. And she said she just started crying because she didn't know how long they were away from their mother or when they adopted them, but the little girl knew that felt like home. That was mama. And that just, it even goes back to, that even goes even deeper, where how we were taken away from Mama Africa, how we were taken from our real mother and just brought over with these step parents of America and just changed. So it's almost like sometimes we are kind of like the mixed people, where we have lost our way, where we need to get back to that black mother. We need to get back to her to even feel whole again, to even know our identity. So just think on another scale of you doing that when you're mixing the races, is that it's causing confusion. It's actually causing people to really not be whole within themselves. And it's nice that we have this little melting pot, but now it's this, that we're so broken up, we're so ununified, that we just got to get back to basics. We have to get back to even how we cultivate our DNA. We have to get back to those basics.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's enjoying the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
We have more time as long as you have time. If you want to start wrapping it up and start closing on some points, definitely want to make sure that you share your contact information and how people can learn more about being compatible from this two experts. And
Do you want to do it?
Well, I'll go ahead and say is that now is a time where we all need to upgrade. We all need to learn better ways on how to be ourselves and to be better connected with each other. And so what we do is we do teach the all-seeing eye, which is a sacred language where we can learn to harmonize each other through sight. And this is a
We
a
call
tool.
it spiritual facial recognition.
We call it spiritual facial recognition, but it's a tool that everyone needs in this day and age because it gives you the ability to have a greater consciousness in the here and now. All right, and then you can project out into the future from that point forward. But I think that we all need to consider how are we going to come together as one, and how can we change the image of all people. And I think we all know it has to do with something that starts from within first, but I think we all have to start thinking about what are going to be those tools and how can we do this? How can we make this effective so our whole image for the world won't just be a confused one where we're still wanting hope and we're wanting peace? I like to say that we do have a solution for peace. We just need greater support, and we need more people to understand what we teach and how it's a part of the whole puzzle to piece back to consciousness back to one whole piece.
And we do compatibility charts, and you can do a compatibility chart and still be single, and we can look at you and we can look at your numbers through numerology to set you up to tell you what you should look for. But if you have somebody that you're interested in, you can inbox us on our public figure page, Rael and Hathor Segment L, or you can send us an email at journeytothethrone888 gmail.com, or you can get on our website at www.schoolfortheliving.com, and you can look at what we do as far as the compatibility charts. We look at your numbers, and we're able to help you to harmonize with anybody, whether it be your children, a co-worker, but we definitely do relationships. We do marriage counseling through the compatibility charts to see the numbers of what you should be doing together, because a lot of relationships you don't want to get a divorce, or you don't want to go through these things. You want to see if you can work it out. So why not take a different road than just going through therapy or some type of counseling? You can actually go through spiritual counseling, where we find it, what we do more effective than some therapists, and it's cheaper. So, I say go to our website, see what we do. You can always inbox me or Rael on Facebook, and we can talk to you about it a little bit more. We are the type of people, we will get on the phone, we will answer all your questions, and we are here to serve our people and make more of a better relationships. People finding relationships, that are, something that can be beneficial to each person. So we're all about the harmonization of our people, whether it be a child and a mother, or a father and a child, or just these relationships that are building, especially the young relationships. So again, you can find us on Facebook. Our public figure page is Rael and Hathor Segment L, and then School for the Living, schoolfortheliving.com.
Perfect. This is incredible. I know sometimes these conversations are not the easiest to have, and I know sometimes people who are watching or think or around feel like people are stepping on their toes, or feel like people have a certain way about them. But just want everybody to understand what people like myself and what the people that I'm connecting with are about. We're about Black nation building, Black family, man, woman, and child. The straight Black cultural nation building, and nothing in between or any of the other things. So it's like, if that's not your interest, do your thing.
Right.
We're reaching out and looking to connect with our people that understand that we were stolen, and through us being stolen, or us being colonized or under imperialism, we have adapted some terrible ways. And we understand the psychology of certain situations, but we're also saying that it's time to move forward and get back to what we need to get back, which is the Black nation building. So we have these wonderful journeys that we do to different parts of the Black world, especially for those who you may work with, you may work at a corporation full of white folks and full of just other people other than Black folks, and you're starting to get attracted to the other folks, and we're telling you take some of that big money you're making, take a trip to African continent. You can come with us, or you can come with other people, or you can make a trip on your own. But our goal is to connect you with other black people in other parts of the black world, and let you, because it's more. It's a whole lot more black people outside of America than inside of America, and it's a whole lot more other things going on. I was born in Jamaica, and just coming here to America and just having the opportunity to work in, with the military, the airlines, and just having my own travel business, just having access to travel all around the world. You see incredible things going on with other black people, but also you see just being here. Sometimes all we see is us, and then. Whenever things don't work out with us, the first thing we do is we go start looking at Asian or white folks, or someone else that's just of a whiter complexion. And the reality of it is that's not going to solve your problem, and that's why we say come to countries like Brazil, where it's an incredible black African population, and there's brothers out there that have been talking about brothers should open their minds up and travel to different parts of the world, and people have taken them the wrong way, and I'm here to defend those brothers, and also here to defend the sisters that also saying the same thing, that it's a whole lot of us around the entire world, and in order for us to build a true black nation, we as black people who live in this country, which are make up more than just the black folks that are actually just born here. Now those of us come from the Caribbean and other parts. We're really focused on us all coming together and working together, and then us looking outside of the Americas and look into Africa. So you touching certain things on relationships and opening it up is where we just really want people to understand that if you have certain issues or certain feelings you feel about the sisters that you're connecting with or the brothers you're connecting with, Africa is a great opportunity. I mean, you talk about a whole continent full of black people. You know what I mean? If you can't find relationships and working,
there's a ton of women over there.
And some people might be like, "Why go so far?" It's not about going far. You need to be in Africa anyway. So you making a move and saying that I'm gonna have children and have a family in Africa, you on point already. Because the way the system here, these folks get you caught up into where judges, courts, child support, mass incarceration, get into it to where two people who love each other, black man, black woman, could just be the bitterest enemy, and not because of they feel a certain way about each other. It's because of how the system have laid things down and put things in place for us. And before we even close, let's talk about that. Before you even close, how do you? Can you share some of the details about how the system just folks to fight against each other?
I'm going to explain it because
it can't just be on their own, right?
I have my part.
I've been through the ringer with this. Is that since I came from a relationship where it was she was from a different race, it made it much easier for her to follow the guidelines of what most divorce cases go through, and I think for her. It was all about destroying him and taking everything from me, and that's pretty much what happened in our relationship. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not able to see my children now or even speak to them, because she actually had more money. She makes about $100,000 a year, so for her to really keep me out of their lives is a very easy thing, because I'm not making that kind of money, right? So I know that. Dealing with the divorce case, I haven't been able to, have a normal life as other people, because, when you have money like that and you're also dealing against the odds of being black and living in America, and people like to say, oh, well, that's a fable, that's a myth. But it's a lot of people speaking this myth, and it's a fable, so it must be a reality to all those people speaking this myth that's happening to those people. For me, it took me outside of the world where I even wanted to participate in that world. I didn't want to be a part of that world, and so it only pushed me to where I needed to be, which is to serve a greater purpose for myself and others. But initially in that world, if I would have stayed there, I would not be a spiritual person. I would probably be in jail easily. I probably would be caught up in old conflict with my ex-wife. Not able to fully live a free life where I could just be happy and do the things that I wanted to do. I would have been stuck with ball and chains trying to serve her and serve the court system as far as what they wanted me to do. But what I've done, I've served my Creator and my God, and I know that that's where my justice is going to be delivered.
For me, I never put the father of my children, of my 7, on child support. And this is why, because I've always felt like if we can work it out where he put the money in my hand and it doesn't go through a third party, I'm good. And we had it that way. But I know when you do get child support, the government takes out their little cut. And they can hold that money, and they can do anything they want to with that money. So the man could be right there in the same state as you. They can meet you to give you the money in your hand. But now you got to go through all these different channels to just get money for the children. And I've seen it even with the father of my children, because he had other women that he dealt with that had him on child support. It would have it where they were waiting for the money, and stuff would happen with the money where sometimes they weren't even getting the child support. Or he was in the rears and he was getting locked up. And I'm like, that is so stupid, is that you'll lock the man up, and then he can't work, then everybody's ass out. So it always was, to me, is that let him work. Let him be able to do what he needs to do so I can get that money in my hand to take care of my children. And then I do my work, And I think it's just like, it does cause bitterness, the system and how it's set up. And it's just the system is meant to tear the black family apart. Because even if you want Section 8, you want any of those things, you want public housing, you can't have a man. You can't have a man in the home. You have to be a single black mother. You have to be by yourself. So the system is just not for the family unit of the black family uniting. It's really there to tear it apart and make things even worse.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect. Well said. We have covered everything. I'm trying to think of anything that we have not covered, but it seems like we've covered it all. So
Yeah,
appreciate your energy.
I understand that system, it only creates walls where people who don't know how to, communicate and know how to deal with family situations, it gives them an easy way to hate.
As my father always said, what goes around in this house stays in this house. And that's how it needs to be with the black family, is that we do our own business between us. We don't need a third party. We just need to have that sit down among the families and work it out. Mm-hmm. We don't need the mediation. Everybody should be adult enough to be able to work with each other for the greater cause of the children.
Well, perfect. And I want to add something. We're at the event for Ghana's 60th anniversary, and the couple that we sat by, I was talking with them, and I was having a dialogue as far as when Ghanaians that are in America that are part of a community, when things don't work right, do they do the same process of how they do it when they're in Ghana, to where the family make sure that they counsel the individuals and make sure they go through the process to where everything stays in house and everything is fixed? And they mentioned to me yes, and I was telling them that that's a problem that we have here in Black America. Those of us that come here and are those of us that are here, and then we have these issues. It's the courts and other people that gets involved, and then so it's always one of those things where I tell people the best things about when I travel to countries like Ghana is the family structure and the level of how families work together. And these are the things that you're also sharing with people and educating people through the process of your work and your business. And we just need more people to do these kind of things.
That's our work always, is to build up the black family and get it back together, whether it be individual growth. We work with other races, but our main focus is the black family and just helping mothers, fathers, relationships, young. We have a lot of students from Howard that we work with, helping them and helping them to understand themselves and awareness, because consciousness is more than a costume. Consciousness is more than natural hair. Consciousness is more than wearing a dashiki or an ankh or the eye of Horus tattooed on your arm. It is more of awareness of yourself and others, and how you can really work on the higher harmonics. So it's all about awareness. It's not just about a costume or acting it or eating a certain way. You have to have your spirit up to that level as well with your physical.
Oh, perfect. And my brother, you want anything else you want to say before we close out?
No, she's hit everything on the button. I was listening, trying to tune in
you know
for
what?
anything that I couldn't.
I do want to say is that my understanding, I could say that, is that how I even elevated to be able to talk like this and be like this is from this man. and I can give due reverence to him and say that that's why I love him, because he came in as a teacher to me, and he showed me a lot of things about myself, that he showed me a reflection that, hey, I didn't always want to see. But I can take that to say that the reason why I'm able to speak up and be able to be like this and say that I want to get into activism and start seeing, showing a stronger black woman out there speaking and doing, is because of this man. And I will say that he's taught me a good amount of everything that I know, and the reason why I talk the way I do.
Absolutely, definitely appreciate your energy, and one of the things we just wanted to show people a beautiful power couple that a strong family background and things, because these things also stem from when we had some of the first videos, and our goal was to start dialoguing about male-female relationships, and sometimes when you have two brothers talking about this, women are like, hey, where's the sister?
They need another sister view, and it's just like, this harmony didn't just come overnight. Like, we went through a purification. We went through a whole year of trying to figure out how to bond, and it wasn't. We were even homeless at a time where it was just like, it's a whole nother story that we could probably do an interview about. But we went through some shit to get to this. So I see sometimes, even when we are out, black women be envious. I'd be like, you can look all you want to, but this right here, I work for this. I work for this harmony. I took direction, and he gave me direction. I gave him direction, even in the bedroom, everywhere. We worked for this harmony, and it takes work to have a good relationship. It's not instant. This was homebred. This was homemade from scratch. And I can stand proudly to say that I had this harmony with this man is because I had to take a good look at myself, and I had to accept criticism. I had to accept his views, and he had to do the same with me. It wasn't that he had all the control. And for me to be able to speak like this obviously shows that he allows me to be myself. So it takes work, and you have to want to do that on both sides.
She said everything.
Absolutely, family. So appreciate your energy, and once again, family, for everybody that's listening, we definitely want to make sure we get you connected to the world-class experience around the world, whether it's to Brazil, other parts of the African diaspora, or just anywhere in the African continent. Ghana is ideal for those of us that are looking to make our reconnection, because it's a tropical nation with many wonderful things going on. So family, check us out at africafortheafricans.org. All the description information that you need is in the description of the videos, and just reach out to us. And we look to just keep on working together to keep a strong back family, and keep nation building process going on. Right. So reach out to us. You have all of our links and information, and we'll connect with you.
Mama.
The journey continues.
Back to mama.
Back to mama.